Good, man. How's it going? Oh, beauty. Wait. Oh,
Something important. I remembered it much sooner. My own microphone. There it is. Hello, everyone. This is Sahara Draft from StormLegacy.com, and this is Nexus Drafthouse. You can see in the background there, it's always a random background wallpaper, and I'm waiting for something really embarrassing to pop up. But right now, we just got Space Wolves, so that's cool.
you can't go wrong.
You can't. You really can't.
Yeah, there you are.
So this is a show all about drafting. We're on our 6th episode tonight. We've had a lot of great guests, various pro players and analysts and things like that. And tonight we are going to be going over the drafts from DreamHack Sweden with InVerum or Invernum?
Verum.
InVerum. Oh, I'm sorry.
I know. So many people add in an N there.
I don't know why.
It's chronic.
InVerum.
Verum. Yeah.
So people might not know as much about you as some of our previous guests. So why don't you tell us about you, what your background is with Heroes, what you do, your ambitions, all that.
Oh, easy. Well, I started playing HOTS back before the original Heroes of the Dorm. Day 9 was streaming it, and I said I had like 1,000+ hours in Dota and other MOBAs and stuff like that. I said, oh, this looks fun, Blizzard MOBA. So I just got into beta and fell in love with the game pretty much instantly. Ended up making some friends through Heroes of the Dorm, and after that got involved in the competitive scene. Played on a team, did pretty well, placed like top 16, road to BlizzCon. When I'm almost like to be taking games off like Tempo Storm and stuff.
Cool.
So like back in the day, for like a totally unknown team was a lot of fun. I got picked up by an org called Vault. Played with them last summer, had a lot of fun, had a blast. Baba Booey, who was on last week, I believe, or 2 weeks ago.
2 weeks ago.
2 weeks ago. That's how we met.
Okay.
He played on the UFT dorm team. So
Right.
then we played together on Vault. So that was a lot of fun.
And you're
After
both Canadians.
We're both Canadians.
There you
Oh
go.
yeah.
There you go.
There you
Okay.
are. There you are, bud.
National pride. Yeah.
National pride. You gotta have it, man. You gotta have it. You gotta have it. So after that, yeah, the team disbanded when school came around. So I didn't really feel like I could commit to playing full time on a team while doing my last year of university. So I kind of stepped back and started managed a couple AM teams, and then I got into casting because I figured it was like a natural extension.
Sure.
So then I started casting, and basically have casted every tournament in North America at this point now.
Nice.
So, I was actually asked to cast the community stream for the last ESL qualifier. The debacle that was that Friday, and I felt so bad that I couldn't cast it because of the closet terrorist Gilly stream. That I felt so bad for
the
them.
Closet stream, I remember
Closet
that.
stream, yeah.
Well, it's in the past now,
It's in the past now. I just felt so bad, but no. So hopefully do more stuff with the
So,
ESL.
so you're looking to be a caster now. You're not looking to join a pro team, anything like that.
No. I mean, I can't. If I can't break into GM right now, I've had the worst luck with you.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Are you in Baba Booey Master League yet, or are you still Scrubs?
No,
we're
still Scrubs. We were on his promotion game, and I threw it. We were like level 21, and I got caught. And lost.
You're
Straight
racked,
up. I threw his promotion game. I felt pretty bad.
I can tell you're racked with guilt about a number of things, but that's okay. So you're on the road to recovery right now.
It was bad. I got caught out on a Nubarak because I misjudged things and didn't burrow correctly. Oh, it was the worst, man. It felt bad. Anyway,
not a good feeling. No, yeah.
I know. So Heroes United is the big thing that I'm working with right now.
Okay.
Do a lot
Storm
of promotion.
Legacy, an official sponsor of Heroes United. There you go.
Yes. Phenomenal.
You can see our logo on there every cast. That's good times. Makes me happy. Makes me feel warm and fuzzy inside. So yeah, love to support the amateur tournament scene and all that. That's great. So what we're doing tonight is you've picked a couple drafts from the recent playoffs in Sweden, DreamHack Sweden, for the Summer Championship. And we were going to go over those, and just like every week, we're going to go piece by piece, talk about the draft, and I think you can provide a good perspective, because I think a lot of the guys on here, they're pro players, they're from these prominent teams, and I want this show to be about, of course, pro drafts, because those guys are the best at it, but I also want the perspective maybe from a little bit closer to the ground, you play a lot of Hero League. I think those guys mostly play scrims, you know. So
I used to play only scrims. It was
right,
a huge wake up call coming back and playing Hero League
right.
after playing nothing or sitting in nothing from scrims because I sat in pro scrims for like the last 6 months,
Hmm.
and then to come back and play Hero League now, it's such a
Different animal.
it makes Hero League so much harder because like I'm used to my teammates making the right calls,
Right,
or at least
right.
us being able to communicate the correct calls. So to come back into Hero League and go, why did you think that was okay to do?
Yeah,
It's
it
so
happens a lot, and I'm
frustrating.
sure we've all been there. Uh, but yeah, I gotta say, season one has definitely. I love season one so far. Obviously, it's not perfect, but huge leaps and bounds for the game. I think with season one, so I've been enjoying it a
100%.
lot.
100%.
All right, so I guess with that, I'm gonna start up this first draft for us. Let me
What are we
find.
starting with?
I believe we are starting with E-Star versus Tempest.
Beautiful. I've got the
So
draft in front of me.
let me find that because I'm slow and old. There we go. E-Star versus Tempest, and there it is. Maybe there it is. Okay, so they are playing. They're, as you can see from the information on screen, they're tied 1-1, and they're
Mhm.
playing on Cursed Hollow.
Yep.
Cursed Hollow is a map we haven't talked about a lot about on this show, actually. So,
Oh,
looking at
really?
just happenstance by the games that get picked. Last week we did 2 Battlefield of Eternity games with Talking Trees. So,
Mm.
uh, what are the priorities on a map like Cursed Hollow?
Okay, so Cursed Hollow is obviously one of the oldest maps in the game. It's what of it was considered for the longest time to be the most balanced map. The
Mm-hmm.
general rule was the better team usually wins on Cursed.
Sure.
Um, Now, what's prioritized often, obviously, global pressure, ranged poke, and then decent push, hard engage. So really, just a lot of the staples. There's no gimmicks on this map.
Right.
There's
It's
no
not wave clear over something else. You have to have a
yes,
balanced team on this map.
exactly.
Okay. Interesting.
It's not BOE because
Mm-hmm.
BOE is when the immortals win the game.
Right.
This is not that. You can ignore the objective. You
Yeah.
can do
Mm-hmm.
a cheesy global strat with Nidus Worm and Abathur.
Mm-hmm.
You can do that on this map.
Right.
This map is I think the second least, in my opinion, second least objective focus map. The first being Sky Temple.
Okay. Okay. Interesting. Yeah. I guess I could see what would make you say that, though. I mean, yeah. The objective on Sky Temple, obviously, kind of similar to this in some ways, in that it's not this integral thing to winning the game, right?
Hmm.
So you can play around with your team comp a lot more on a map like this. So the first band that comes out from E-Star Gaming is going to be the Tassadar, and I mean, Tassadar is the staple of the meta the past, like, what, 3-4 months. Um, but
Yeah, I'm almost going back that. Yeah, it's
yeah,
almost that long now.
yeah,
Jesus, yeah.
yeah, it really is. And a lot of people don't. A lot of people think he's only really great with Illidan, but explain for us why Tassadar is just so high priority in every map all the time.
Tastar is an enabler.
Mm-hmm.
He enables melee assassins. It's really his primary function. He's the largest single target burst heal in the game. In
Mm-hmm.
Shield, and it's on a 4-second cooldown.
Right.
You can his ability to pump out raw healing is insane. But what makes him strong is his ability to control fights, both through vision, through force walls, and his mobility in the fights. His ability to follow his melee assassin. So the reason he's been so strong is because of the resurgence of the bruiser melee assassin meta. We were in a long time the triple ranged backline
Mm-hmm.
assassin was big for a while. The triple ranged assassin with
Right.
the single tank, single healer was
So
big.
I have a question about Tassadar's presence for so long. There's definitely a lot of discussion going on about the state of supports in this game,
Hmm.
and they kind of feel, and with the recent Rhaegar nerf to his heals, it kind of feels like the healing ability of support heroes in this game does not even come close to the damage ability of damage heroes in this game, right? So like,
That would be broken.
yeah, of course it would, but I think a lot of people feel like a lot of the healers just aren't even worth really investing a lot in. You know what I mean? Do you think that's true? And also, do you think the other part of that discussion is that healers aren't very diverse? They aren't very fun to play. They're kind of heal bots at that. And how do you feel about all that?
Well, I'm a support main. I
Okay.
have like 1,500 support games.
Hmm.
And I have to say that some days feel like that.
Hmm.
For me, I I don't mind a healer that heals. I don't mind the archetype of the damage dealer, the tank, the healer. I don't
Right.
mind that. It's very WoW classic Blizzard.
Hmm.
And I don't mind healing. I find it enjoyable. If I get a clutch save and keep someone alive, that's rewarding to me. I don't
I
you
I
know what
agree
I
with you.
mean?
Hmm.
I get a sense of I did something good in that situation. I just wish that there were more supports who had the ability to make plays, to be
Right.
the engage.
Right.
That's my only downs because really, like, unless you're a melee assassin or a warrior
Hmm.
or Falstad, you really don't have a lot of like you start the fight ability.
Right.
And I wish there was a way. I mean, unless you're Uther at 16 with Benny, Double Sunstrike Ray, and then you can.
Right. That,
That's the only time,
that's
really.
I mean that's a crazy thing to be doing though. Yeah.
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah. And again, but sometimes it
yeah,
has to be done.
sometimes, yeah. Yeah. I mean, that's how I play Uther, but yeah, that pretty much feels like the only. I love Uther. It
Yeah.
feels like the only
Level
time.
20 Uther, I hear you.
It feels like healers. I mean, healers by nature should be kind of passive, right? Like that's kind of their role, right? Like, but but it's not as fun, I think, for a lot of players. I have fun with healers, but I definitely feel where they're coming from. So, anyways, I
I
feel
agree.
like maybe if there was more dynamic healers in the future, we'd see Tassadar and Tyrande and the because Tassadar and Tyrande are supports that can do stuff, right? Like there's a cool force wall. Here's your hunter's mark. Burn that thing down. Here's a big stun. Like from range. So I think that's why people play them so much, and also why they're so good and difficult to balance. So they have their work cut out for them, no question.
There's so many ways to do it though.
Mm-hmm.
Like you can make I just give me the option to spec. Like we have the
Sure.
ability.
Yeah.
I make a support who I can spec like a DPS.
Mm-hmm.
If
I'm
I
very
need to
I'm
spec them as a support, but yeah.
I'm very excited to see what they do with the third kerosene trait. They said they're doing something with it, so we'll
Yeah,
see.
they are. I heard rumors it had to do with cooldown reduction.
That'd be great. That'd be so cool.
So we'll see what happens with that.
All right, so there's the Tassadar ban, and now Tempest is on their first ban. Who do you think, if you're in Hero League and you see this Tassadar first ban, which you probably won't, you'll see Kael'thas.
Yes.
But if you do, what are you thinking the ban should be at this point?
Honestly, in this situation, Tassadar is a fear ban. Like that
Mm-hmm.
doesn't really tell me much about what they're going to do. Obviously, it
Mm-hmm.
used to be indicative of you're picking Zeratul.
Right.
It doesn't mean that anymore. Because there are so many other Zeratul is not his back when people didn't know how to used to know how to play against stealth and were worse at stealth, at dealing with stealth,
Mm-hmm.
it was a thing, but now like you can see stealth. If you
Right.
if you put enough time into the game,
Yeah.
you can see stealth like 100% of the time if you have good eyes. So that's not really a factor anymore. Vision's less relevant.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, obviously Vision's always good, but particularly for scouting out the stealth hero. So now it really doesn't mean as much. If I'm Tempest here, I just take away. So Tempest does a thing where they just first ban like they first pick Murden for days. It's because
Mm-hmm.
they just have a god tier Murden player,
Right.
like the best Murden player, the best Murden player, and so for them, taking out Illidan is just like we don't want to deal with that play style.
Just don't want to deal with it. Yeah.
We don't want to deal with it.
Okay. Well,
So, and neither does Z-Star because they
Right.
took out Tass.
right.
So neither team just because Illidan he sets up a lot of stuff that's sort of wonky, and both these teams said we don't want to deal with any of that play style. We just want to play this straight up, quote unquote.
Right. All right. So they do end up banning out the Illidan there, and first pick then is going to come out from E-Star Gaming. What's your first pick choice given these two are banned? You personally on this map.
Um, I think KT is still still KT is. I mean, and his win rate in this tournament was atrocious. It was so good. He
Yeah.
just dominated.
Yeah.
I would pick KT personally. But that's
Same here.
the other option would be you could make an argument for Greymane. You could make an argument for Sonya. You could make an argument. Li Ming, not even Li Ming wasn't even a factor in this tournament. Yeah, I think KT is really that number one spot still.
Well, they do end
Still.
up picking up the Falstad, and I noticed this a
Yeah.
lot from these teams. A lot of first pick Falstads in the semifinals and finals. What is it about their play style over there, or maybe just the way they view the game? What do you think it is that makes Falstad a higher priority than a Kael'thas?
So
Obviously,
and
the
as
global.
we start to see going through this draft, as you'll see for the side of E-Star. So I have a phrase. I don't know if anyone else has used it, but I call them tournament alts. Now they're the alts that win you the tournament.
Okay.
The big ones really are Mighty Gust,
Sure.
Mosh Pit, Sunder, Maw. Those are really the big one. Ring of
Yeah.
Frost, I guess. They're
Yeah.
the alts. Yeah. They're the alts that win you the tournament. They're the alt that one big gust, one big mosh pit can win you the game. They can
They're
they
like
can change the face of the
home
game.
run
Exactly.
ults. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. They're tournament alts. The alts that win you the tournament. And Mighty Gust is huge, and Falstad's mobility, his global pressure on this map is huge. Like, he's a good hero, and his damage is solid. Mage Stad's a good, it's a solid build. I I think I don't think he would have been prioritized this high in the draft either way. You know what I mean? Like, I don't.
Yeah.
He just what? I guess it's just definitely a personal preference, and I guess his control. It's the damage while having the control.
So without Gust, Falstad disappears from the tournaments most likely. Like if he just didn't have Gust for whatever reason, or they nerfed it into the ground or something. You think they really are picking Falstad for his ult?
I think it's probably 40% of it.
Okay.
His global is huge, and obviously he's just a good damage dealer. His mobility.
Speaking of percentages, I wanted to ask. I meant to start asking this. At the Hero League level, how much of the game's outcome is determined by the draft, percentage-wise? Just a guess in the dark.
It depends on the level.
Okay, let's just say middle of the road, platinum.
Maybe 50%.
Okay.
I think at the lowest level it matters the lowest level and the highest level is when draft matters the most.
Okay.
Because
so
the
in
highest
the pro level,
low level, yeah, it's huge.
Yeah.
Because if you just get a comp that just doesn't work, you just can't win.
Okay. So, and then at the highest level, at pro level, obviously the teams are all very good at the game. There's not a huge margin of skill between all the 10 players. They're all right up there. So the draft is going to be huge at the highest level of the game. It's going to determine a lot about the outcome. And that's why I started the show, because I want people to know more about drafting. So, first two picks coming out from Tempest does end up being those, and I like this a lot. I like this a lot because there's a lot of damage heroes in the game, like you can make work. But these kick-ass tanks and healers like Rhaegar and Muradin, I like picking them up right away. That's just great.
So we saw about 3 months ago, we saw a trend where it was right after the Rhaegar. So when Tyrande and Rhaegar got their god buff,
right,
suddenly supports and tanks were huge. And that was right when Dahaka came out too. It was huge priority picks on tanks. Tanks and supports were like first pick, 100%.
Right.
And then when they got nerfed, suddenly people, and then the assassins came back in, and Kael'thas he got re-loved. Yeah, Li Ming, exactly. The mages, always the mages. Then assassins came back in, but we saw a hilarious period for about a month and a half, where tanks and supports were like hugely prioritized. Yeah. But since before, since it's been normally you prioritize your assassins, your damage dealers, because like I can put in any tank here, I can plug and play any support here. But I loved like ETC and Muradin have consistently been strong, and it's a tank with CC is just, and a new rack now obviously we're seeing too. A tank with CC, you need that engage tool. And that's what teams are starting to realize. It's like, well, I can plug and play my damage. I need to make sure I secure that engage. And that's sort of the shift in mentality that's happened.
Yeah, and I'm all for it personally. I like that style. I feel like just the way the game is now, you really want to secure that tank that can really, you can build your team on, like hang all the assassins on them like a Christmas tree, and they'll carry them right to victory. and that's the way they draft this. Yeah. Yeah, everyone's just dangling from Muradin's beard doing damage. So, E-Star Gaming now is going to pick their second and third picks, and you see the Muradin, you see the Rhaegar, you know Illidan's out. How are you? Do you at this point, and you can use this in Hero League, are you worried about? You're obviously less worried about picking up your own tank and healer at this point, right? They have one ban left, but where are you headed with this if you're E-Star?
I pick my tank. I don't pick my healer.
Okay.
Because ECC is still that good.
Okay.
To
right, and the ban is next, so.
Yeah, exactly. So there's a chance here that they can take you out of the tank that you want. At this point, there are enough okay supports as things are sitting, you've got Uther and Karzim and Brightwing, which you can all justifiably run.
Hmm.
So choking people out of supports is a lot less viable than it used to be.
Right.
So anyway, I maybe want to roll it forward and see what they pick here. So they do end up going with the ETC, and they opt to pick up Greymane as well.
So Greymane's in this tournament had a 57.9% win rate, which I think was the highest in the tournament, except for like weird one-time picks that happened to win or something.
Yeah.
But Greymane is probably my best hero, a hero I've played for months and months, a hero I wrote about, a hero I've written guides about.
Yeah.
I love Greymane, and now after this tournament, everybody caught on, and I'm upset because that was my hero. No one had even heard of him, even though everybody played him still in the pro scene for the last like 4 months. But people in Hero League didn't play him.
Yeah.
Now everybody in Hero League not only plays him, but knows how to fight it a little better, which is unfortunate. But yeah, Greymane with the right support and the right tank, the burst damage obviously pretty out of control. Yeah, so every team, I don't know if Greymane had 100% interaction rate in this tournament, but he was probably pretty close.
He was very close.
Yeah.
I think in the 90s percentage wise.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And then there's the ETC for the reasons you just went over.
Engage.
Engage. He's the most mobile tank, I'm pretty sure. Like just movement wise, speed, and just be able to move around in a team fight. He, just with power slide, especially the extended one. He's got a lot of mobility for a tank and still great tanking ability. So always a great pick. If you're playing warrior and you're kind of only play Muradin, I highly recommend you pick up an Uberak and ETC in your repertoire because they're both totally legit.
I'm playing a lot of Anub recently. He's so much fun.
Yeah, he's one of my favorite heroes.
So much fun. Yeah, he's just
Dampen Magic is insane.
It's probably one of the best single like talents in the game.
Could be
it's
like
like
the best talent. Yeah.
I think it might be the best talent.
Non-ult talent. Yeah.
No, well, not like talent. Yeah. Or like it's good.
So the ban now from Tempest, you see they've got the tank, you see they've got their damage pretty well locked down, and you're probably going to want to, I would assume ban a healer, right?
Ban Uther. Yep, which is what they do.
So they ban out the Uther, so that makes sense.
This depends on whether you value Uther over Karzim, which I don't at the moment. I think Karzim's actually better in this, and I'm not the only person who's thinking this. I think Karzim's better.
I think it depends on the comp, really. Like,
I think in like 90% of instances, Karzim's the pick.
Okay. Like I said, I play a lot of Greymane. I'd rather have an Uther on my back than a Karzim every time because he can divine shield you when you go in, and you don't have to worry about stuff, and you can just kill for like 2 seconds, and then you can just roll out Knives in the Dark, and you're fine. Like,
yeah.
I like Uther with Greymane personally, but
Karzim's a dive buddy.
He is. He does get in there and mix it up with you. It's very true.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, and like again, it's definitely a personal preference and like how good you are with the hero. Like a good Karzim player, because you just the difference between and this is the key difference here between D Shield and Divine Palm, is that D Shield, you go in on you're going on Greymane and they blow everything on you.
Right.
You get palmed and then you go. As opposed to D Shield, where you go in and if you don't kill someone in that hand, and then they blow everything on you and you're just dead.
Right. But my counter argument to that would be, you were talking earlier about Tassadar being an enabler. Yes. It doesn't take a whole lot to blow up Greymane when he gets in there. You don't have to blow everything, not really.
Yeah.
Divine Shield is such an enabler, right? Like it just gives you free reign for that little window of time, and Greymane does not need a lot of time. Me personally, I like Uther. So
yeah.
Who do you think they're going to ban out for Eastar, though?
Okay. So if I'm looking at this draft, thinking what I think here, I ban an assassin, or I ban Sonya.
Okay.
I think I ban Sonya.
Yeah, but then the very interesting ban comes out
I don't agree with this ban at all.
Okay, so the first thing I thought when I saw this ban was, well, that you just tipped your hand, right? Like, that tells isn't that not telegraphing completely that you're going double warrior, right?
Yes.
Like, so you're Tempest and you see the Tychus ban, now the whole plan is out, but obviously you can't pick Tychus, so what are you going to do about it?
Now, roll it forward and show them what they do with it. This is the reason I picked this draft.
Okay, so there's the Tyrael Sonya. Tell us about
There's the
that.
Tyrael Sonya. All right, so this is Triple Warrior.
Mm-hmm.
Now, we see Sonya with Muradin, or we see Sonya with Tyrael.
Mm-hmm.
These are the two.
These
We
are
don't
both.
often see all three. We don't
Right.
often get to see all three.
Right.
So the reason this is really cool is because E-Star Gaming has just eliminated their single best tool to deal with this in this
Right.
ban.
They beat
I love this.
their own tool. Right. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. They cut off their own legs with this.
Right. And well, to a degree, there's still Karazim available, and obviously seven-sided strike is very good against warriors, but not when there's three, right?
Not when there's three of them.
Not when there's three. You can't burn one down because they're all going to be on top of each other. So
yeah.
So yeah, very interesting ban of Tychus there. I've never seen Tychus banned ever until that, I think.
Yeah.
So yeah, there is the Karazim. They do opt for the Karazim, obviously for the seven-sided strike, I would assume, and Thrall. So a very, very solid kind of well-rounded comp for E-Star still.
Yes.
A very, very extremely tough, sturdy, aggressive comp for Tempest. Well, yeah, I mean,
aggressive for both sides.
Aggressive for both sides, but more aggressive for E-Star, I'd say.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
So much engage.
But the thing is, with that much engage and aggression, the tank ability and sanctification is so good at nullifying that, right?
Yeah.
Right. So, how do you round this team out with Tempest? What's the perfect assassin to go with this beefy comp we have here?
So, normally, I would say the fact that Kael'thas has made it through this draft is hilarious to me.
Yeah.
So normally I say Kael'thas, but obviously I know how this draft ends.
Mm-hmm.
For me, the pleb would say KT.
Mm-hmm.
It sets up early game kills with Muradin. With a little more lockdown, you can blow up a lot of the members of the side of E-Star. However, it's not what they go with. And what they go with was, in this situation, despite the fact that Li Ming didn't do as well in this tournament and wasn't as prioritized in this tournament, Li Ming was the better pick here for the sole reason that she can escape and she can do all her damage from max range. And this, for me, this was just such a heads up pick. And then once you see the game, it makes so much sense.
This is the safest Li Ming I've ever seen.
That's exactly
this
it.
Li Ming lives in an armored car inside Fort Knox, inside a mountain. She's safe.
Because this literally how Tempest plays this is they throw warriors at you, and Li Ming's the back just like lobbing, off the screen, just max range, playing like Chromie.
Yeah.
Yes.
Because
you have to
is
deal with
Chromie
this.
style Li Ming. Yeah.
It was Chromie style Li Ming.
Interesting. All right. Well, there's your draft there. That was a very interesting one. I'll load up a highlight video real quick.
So my thing here for E-Star is if Thrall was KT, if this Thrall was a KT, chain bomb into that would be hilarious. But anyway.
Right. Yeah. No, you're absolutely right. There it goes. So I'm just gonna call this real quick. This is the first fight they get into. Second fight they get into pre the ults, and you can see the very aggressive comp from E-Star is actually working out here. But then the Thrall was a big liability on this comp the whole game. He just had so much to deal with, and then you can see E-Star ends up doing the damage there. But the theme of Thrall getting picked out is going to continue. There's the Sanctification, doesn't get a whole lot done there, and the nice Sunder Gust. But what does it do? Like, all it does is disengage, right? And they're still on top of the Tribute. And that's where this super sturdy comp from Tempest starts to come into play, is after Sanctification's available, after the ults come out. I mean, just look at the very nice Ancestral onto the Sonya there. And they just can't, even though they have this super high damage comp, which of course will get better and better as the game goes on, there's just too much healing and health coming out of here from Tempest. Nice. What is Tyrael's trait called? Nice blow up on them when you die. There.
I believe it's called Eternal Devotion?
Eternal Devotion. I think so.
I think that might be it.
Yeah.
So that sounds right.
So they actually do end up pushing them off there, but this is when the game swung a lot. Look at how much value just came out of that Sanctification over there by the Knights.
The whole game. The whole game was Sank getting mass. He sanked 2 or 3 Sunders in this game.
Yeah. That's the other thing, and that's something we're going to go over in our second game too. That happens a lot. Thrall is helpless before sanctification. Like if it's timed right.
Yeah.
I've seen. So I was watching these highlights, and so many times the Sunder just gets nullified. Right.
Yeah.
Which is a big win for whoever's sanctifying, right? Because Sunder is one of those tournament ults, like you said.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I guess that kind of makes sanctified one as well if it can counter it. So.
Yeah, and we're actually gonna see a play on Sank in the next game. I won't spoil it, but it's fun.
Mm-hmm.
And what they end up doing with it towards the late game. No, Sank is originally the Tyrael Sonya pick. It's like enable Sonya to go ham. You dive with Sonya and you just allow Sonya to live.
Mm-hmm.
But the reason this comp was so successful is you're right, they're beefy, but not just because they're have high health pools.
Right.
The fact that they innately synergize with Rhaegar and with shields. The fact that couple that with Tyrael shields, couple that with the self-sustain from Sonya, the self-sustain from Murden, the fact that they have so much, there's so much to get through. And in the back line, the whole time, Li Ming's dealing the actual damage.
Right.
And that's why it's deceptive. You look at the Triple Warrior, it's like, Triple Warrior.
And Sonya's no slouch either during those games.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But the real hero here is it's Li Ming.
Right. And so does Rhaegar work better in this comp after the buffs to his lightning shield and the nerfs to his heal? He still has ancestral.
He does.
And the lightning shield does a good chunk more damage now.
I want to say yes.
Obviously
I reserve the right to I reserve the right to change my mind upon further. I mean, I've been playing a variation on Rhaegar shield build for like 2 weeks, 3 weeks, or 2 weeks now since I've been back. I prefer a variant on a shield build. Honestly, I've always taken, or I took Tideways for a long time, and then a friend of mine turned me on to just the fact that there's so many situations where having an extra little thing that can keep someone alive will save lives. There's so many times where I wish my lightning shield could give people health and it didn't.
Yeah.
So
I actually like the Rhaegar changes. I think he's still great.
Yeah. I like him too.
Yeah.
I think he's still tier 1.
Yeah, I mean, I'm no expert, but it sure feels that way to me. So the next game you picked was Tempest again, and this was Game 5 of the Grand Finals versus MVP Black.
Spoilers, guys, if you haven't watched it, here you go.
So what we're looking at here in this draft is maximum pressure on the biggest stage. There's a lot of backstory from the previous 4 games informing these picks. This is a big draft, and they do opt for their first ban, does Tempest, on the Towers of Doom. And the final game on Towers of Doom, by the way, how cool is that? They do...
Really? Because I don't think that's cool at all.
I like it.
The least climactic wins ever happen on this map.
Maybe the least climactic wins, but the closest games happen on this map. There's so many games on this map that are 4-4, 8-4, 2-2. It's got close games.
It does. That are absolute.
Right. But these guys aren't. That's not going to happen with these guys.
No. Well, you didn't. Did you watch Super League Finals?
No, I didn't actually.
Yeah. So yeah, but either way, that's true. That's true.
So there's the first ban Tracer, and that seems weird out of context, right?
It's a response. Yeah.
Yeah. So, but in the previous game, I believe it was game 3. The Tracer from MVP Black. I don't remember the player's name. Just ran all over everybody, and Tracer was a big problem. So that's a straight up like, please no Tracer ban right there, right?
Yeah, the play was just sick nasty. It was Korean Tracer.
Korean Tracer, yeah.
Korean. That's all you need to know. Korean Tracer.
Yeah. Oh man, I kind of want to cast that game because when the Falstad Epic mounted or flew over by the Tracer and went to or was it ET? I think it was Falstad, and she recalled on the same spot to dodge the big ult. Oh my god, it was just beautiful. Anyways,
funny. It was pretty funny.
There's the ban.
Just high skill plays. Anyway, ban Tracer.
So let's talk about this map real quick.
Towers of Doom.
So what is the gimmick on this map as far as what kind of heroes are the strongest on this map?
Okay, so that's a very good question. So this map used to be about the global, having the ability to be all over the place. Dahaka was highly prioritized, Falstad, Brightwing, all hugely prioritized in this map, and we'll see some of that here. Globals were huge. The ability to, when the try, and the fact that we know when the triple shrine altars are going to spawn,
right,
It's huge. But because of that change, and my single favorite change they've made to a map ever was this, that in the 40 skeletal defenders and shrines. But
Yeah.
the fact that, because before it was, you couldn't draft early game pick comps on this map. You couldn't do it. You had to draft for the late game on this map because you were guaranteed to get to the late game on this map. And now, in doing the three altar spawn, the triple spawn first, they've guaranteed early team fights.
Right.
They've guaranteed, which means that early pick comps and early fight comps can work because you can snowball and get so far ahead off that.
The momentum off the triple shrine can be huge at
Yes.
the beginning of the game. Yeah.
So
and it's cool. Yeah.
It is cool.
So who's MVP gonna ban here? And let's just take a look actually, and then we'll talk about why rather than predicting. So there's the Illidan. I gotta tell you, the screenshot, they did not show the both bans without Tracer sticking her face in the camera for 1 second. I looked. Anyways, Illidan is the ban out from MVP Black.
Yeah, Illidan. I don't actually love Illidan on this map, which is interesting to me.
Even with
definitely
the
just a
hunt.
Yeah. I've watched C9 go full global. It's hilarious.
Yeah.
They actually won that game in 9 minutes. But either way, it was pretty funny. No, I don't actually like Illidan on this map all that much. I don't feel like he offers. I think there are heroes that offer more than he does on this map. I think it's just a respect ban.
It's just respect.
Tempest.
Speaking of Cloud9, there was another Cloud9 patented strat in this tournament on Sky Temple, lovingly known as Juice Pirates, which is...
Juice Pirates.
Juice Pirates. Do you remember the game where My Insanity went Tyrael, Morales, Sonya?
Oh, the keep snipe comp.
Yeah. Well, they called it Juice Pirates. So
they called it Juice Pirates.
Now, the secret's out, everybody. They lost because they were playing a Korean team, and
it was pretty funny though.
Yeah, it was
they
funny.
They did take the keep. They did get it.
They got the keep.
They actually threw late. They threw.
Yeah,
they were actually ahead of that game.
They went for the snipe on the core, which can work, but
and they ended up throwing. Yeah. Anyway.
Yeah. Anyways, so first pick coming out from Tempest. Oops, wrong window. First pick coming out from Tempest again, Falstad. So there's that global. I mean, is it just is Gust that good?
No. I mean, Gust is really good, but against a team that, into Wailing Arrow, into Leap, into everything. I mean, Falstad's great on this because he also has range. It's all the same reasons he's good on Cursed. He's good on this. It's the global, it's the range poke, it's the engage, it's the disengage.
Okay.
And it's the control. And when you got someone, I think it was who was playing the Falstad here? It wasn't Duck. It was there are other Unreal Falstad player. God, I can't blanking on his name.
I have a hard time.
Anyway, his Falstad is just renowned. It's unreal.
Okay.
And it's really bugging me.
Well.
Okay, continue.
I'll continue. You can get to the bottom of that. So the Muradin first pick comes out from MVP Black along with the Kael'thas, which I like. I like that they. I feel like Kael'thas kind of like. People are so sick of Kael'thas being so great that they almost like are averse to picking him, but they go ahead and take him here. I mean, everything's on the line. You go ahead and pick Kael'thas. Yeah, he's a pretty good hero. So, and Muradin, just probably the best tank. So, just two power picks there.
Well, this is also a denial. So both these teams, if you watch Super League, just fight over Muradin.
Lockdown.
He's just because they both have just phenomenal Muradin players.
Right. Lockdown's the player's name, by the way.
Lockdown. Thank you, Jesus.
Thank you to Hal Wow in the chat.
Oh, Lockdown. Oh my God, I'm literally looking through their player roster right now.
Yeah.
Thank you, Lockdown. Yeah. Lockdown is just a god on him. Like he was his Falstad play is part of the reason they forward Super League finals.
Right. Anyways, they have great Muradin players. It's kind of a race to Muradin in a way for these teams.
It is.
And I mean, Muradin's a great hero. I mean, he's not that hard to play, but he's really hard to play godlike, right? Like, he's really hard to play at the top level, which is why his win rate has dropped so much on hot slogs, but he's still so highly picked in Pro League or pro level.
He's easy to play. He's not easy to play well.
Right. And I play him very average. So there you go.
I hit like 75% of my store builds. There you are.
Yeah, that's a pretty good rate.
Yeah, that's what you need.
Not bad. So Tassadar Greymane, obviously those two guys they can be bosom buddies. They go together well.
Yeah.
I'm old. It's probably an
Oh no,
expression
I like
from
it.
like
I
the
like
30s.
it. I like.
I don't know.
No, it's good.
Yeah, anything to say about the Tassadar Greymane here?
I love it. I love it. Again, it's range poke, it's engage, it's vision, it's control. It's all the things. It's the hallmark of Tempest.
Right.
It's heroes who can control while doing so many other things well.
That brings up an interesting point. In a lot of MOBAs, your jack of all trade heroes, Dota, League of Legends, your jack of all trade heroes aren't that great, right? They're kind of like druids in WoW. I mean, some of them are good, but like they're kind of like, well, we're okay at everything, but we're not good at anything. Jack of all trade heroes in Heroes of the Storm, heroes like Tassadar, are just phenomenal.
Yeah.
They're the best heroes in the game. Falstad is a jack of all trades, except for tanking, I guess. He doesn't have that trade, but everything else he's got. And I find that to be an interesting dynamic between the games. A hero like Tassadar does not exist in, let's say, Dota 2. I played a lot of Dota 2. A guy that gives vision, a guy that just gives crazy shields everywhere, a guy that's pretty fast, a guy that can heal himself. Like.
If Abaddon was good.
Right, sure, right.
Of course, isn't he played as a carry now? Oh God,
I don't know. I haven't
watched
played
Dota in so long.
I haven't played or watched in a long time. I like this game.
Yeah,
but
I watched the Vanilla Major, and that was about it. And oh my God, they make us look so bad.
Yeah, well, the game is young. Yeah, I mean,
It is.
And also there's not $18 million prize pools in this game, so
I wish.
Yeah, maybe one day we'll see.
Maybe one day we'll hope.
Maybe if enough people start drafting with the mad knowledge you learn from Nexus Drafthouse, they'll get to that level.
Oh, I love it. The shameless self promotion.
Shameless.
Shameless. I love it.
That's me. All right, so the next ban, actually, second ban from MBV Black is going to be the ETC.
Yeah, I love it. I love it.
Yeah, they have the Muradin, so why wouldn't you ban ETC? ETC is a big pain in the ass, right? So.
Oh yeah.
Makes sense. Who is Tempest want to ban here?
Okay, so they do something really interesting here, and you look at this and you think, okay. There's a classic pair. You don't often see Tassadar and Redgar. You very often see Tassadar and Brightwing, which is what we do end up seeing here.
Right.
But instead of banning the Rhaegar, which you think they'd ban,
makes sense.
Makes sense. They ban Kerosene.
Now, what do you think?
Now,
that's
this
about?
was interesting to me. I don't, and this is something that I want to, because I don't know. Rhaegar has universally been the first tier support.
Let's think about this. What does Kerosene do that Rhaegar does not? Is there anything?
He can get in and poke, but he has to dive in to do it with his dash.
He's melee.
He's melee.
I mean, Rhaegar is too, but not really.
Not in the same sense, yeah. Honestly, like. I don't know. And that's one of the great things about this draft is that I legitimately don't know what the thought process here, and I'd love some insight. Anyone want to chat if you have an opinion?
Yeah,
like
absolutely.
Go nuts if you have I cannot.
Maybe they were trying to keep him out of sanctification. Like I mean, he has a big heal. So does Rhaegar. Rhaegar does more damage unless he goes Iron Fist, which he's not going to. Most likely. I don't know what Kerosene does for you on Towers of Doom that Rhaegar does not.
Yeah, the Rhaegar doesn't traditionally just do
better.
Yeah. Anyway.
All right, so there is the Rhaegar.
What's the next spec?
There's the
MVP Plus,
Rhaegar
they just... I mean, maybe it's because they've got a phenomenal Kerosene player.
Maybe.
Maybe?
It's possible, sure.
I mean, it's
Mary Day,
but Mary Day's unreal on everything.
Palm seems easier to stop a burst compared to the delay of Ancestral Heal.
That's fair.
That's fair, but also...
But when you look at this draft, it's not really a burst. I mean, all you've got is Falstad Greymane. I mean, I guess that's pretty bursty, but
and Palm, in general, is a harder spell to hit.
It is.
I mean, you just kind of see a guy get lowish, and you cast Ancestral Heal, right? Like,
especially at this level.
Yeah.
Especially at this level of play, when you see someone... Palm like, nope, not gonna touch you. Not going to do it.
Right.
They have the discipline to just stop attacking.
Right. That's the other thing is the team... Palm will never be as good as Ancestral Heal because Palm gives the enemy the choice to stop it, right?
Yeah.
Ancestral Heal is you kill him to stop it, otherwise it's going off, right? Like so it's up to
The
you.
best CC is death. Yes.
Yeah, absolutely. So that is a puzzling ban on the Kharazim, and this is game 5. They clearly wanted to ban this Kharazim for a big reason, and I would love to ask them.
Yeah, same. I would love to know what the thought process was here.
Yeah.
Because anyway.
So there's the Brightwing Tyrael.
Yeah.
Tassadar, Brightwing, Greymane, Falstad, Tyrael. Palm on Kale, Afraid of Mura plus KT plus 7-sided strike. Maybe.
Maybe that's it. Maybe maybe it wasn't the palm. Maybe
that's a very good point. He was talking about the burst. That is burst right there.
That's burst. Yeah.
Okay.
That's fair. That's a good idea.
Good thought.
Of course, they end up just drafting Sank, which is the single largest counter to that.
Right. They just have Sanked anyways. But
yeah, they go Sanked anyway. But maybe they just want to deny it even more. That's fair. I like that. I like that thought process. Maybe because you can, especially if you can isolate someone with the lifts and sunder the rest of the team, isolate 7-sided.
Because Kael'thas isn't this godlike hero because he's throwing living bombs out, right? He's this godlike hero because he has that damn stun, right? And you can just lift and lock down, or no pun intended, lift and just shut him down, everybody can jump in. So, okay, I could see the Kharazim ban making sense for that. It's a good thought. Thank you, what a chump. You are not a chump, sir.
Yeah, no, I like it. Because NA loves 7s. EU was all about Palm.
Right.
And Korea does a whole... Did Palm for a while, did 7s for a while, and is now sort of in a mix of both. It was hilarious. There were literally 2 supports in NA who took Palm for the longest time until recently.
Yeah.
And it was like and then Bakery popularized it, really. It was Bakery.
Yeah.
Bakery.
I gotta tell you... I gotta tell you, if I'm this Thrall, I am feeling very uncomfortable right now. I'm like, oh man, polymorph, sanctification, ouch. I'm not feeling good if I'm this Thrall. But they do.
What is the universal trait of Tempest right now? What is the 4 out of 5? What is the universal trait of Tempest?
Let's see.
I'm kind of putting you on the spot.
You are. You're putting me on the spot. Universe 4 out of 5. Let's see.
4 out of 5 have this in some form.
Shields.
Got it.
Yeah, they have 4 people who create shields. Yeah.
Yes, either on themselves or others.
Mm-hmm.
And that's really it. It was MVP Black's like, we're gonna just burst someone,
bunch
and
of
Tempest's
free
like,
health.
be shields.
Mm-hmm.
Shields for days.
Nah, dog. We're just gonna have a bunch of free health that doesn't matter. It's called shields.
Yeah.
And that's awesome. I think that's so cool. Sylvanas does round out the MVP Black. You like that pick?
Okay, so there's a reason obviously it's game 5, the finals, and that's awesome. But there's a specific reason I picked this draft.
Okay.
MVP Black's comp is the definition of standard.
Right.
If you were to summarize the meta in the past month in one draft, it's that draft.
It's the whole history of the game. It's tank, ranged mage, healer, melee assassin, specialist. Yeah.
Yep. You got it. Yeah. It's so just across the board. They're just good heroes. They've got good engage, good damage, good lockdown. You've got the silence. You've got the pushing power. You can push lanes. You've got a great soul laner and Thrall. It does everything well. Excuse me. It's just a good draft. And then you look at Tempest. This is the new kid on the block. This is the new kid on the block draft. Mm-hmm. I love it.
Mm-hmm. The draft from MVP Black looks like the draft of a team that is under the impression that they've got the game solved. Like, Heroes of the Storm, they beat it. Yep. And this is how you play it. Like, this is the draft, I guess that's the definition of standard. And yeah, very cool shield priority build coming out here from Tempest. Just, how do we get NA to catch on to Sanctification in a bigger way?
Well, it's funny because I managed an amateur team called RFS Gaming for a long time, and we ran this draft.
Okay.
We ran this draft, and the Brightwing Tassadar, except we ran Zeratul instead of Greymane because Greymane wasn't. I don't think Greymane was out at that point.
Oh, okay.
Actually.
Mm-hmm. Greymane's better than Zeratul.
He is. Yes. But now obviously with Greymane. Mm-hmm. And the whole idea that you just buff your melee assassin to the point where they just don't. It's the control. It's the control of Sanctification. In that case, the control of VP as well. And they almost took a game off C9 with this draft.
Right. Nice. Yeah.
And like they lost up in kills.
So that would lead me to believe that MVP Black is very aware of this kind of draft then.
Well, Tempest, the reason that Tempest draft is physically harder to play.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
It's
It's a high
physically,
skill.
it's a very high skill because the idea that you play around Sanct so much.
Yeah.
And I mentioned talking about the last draft that there was something I really wanted specific here. They go Holy Arena.
Yeah. Yeah, that was awesome.
They go Holy Arena, 25% extra damage.
I mean,
It's insane.
makes a lot of sense.
Greymane, he and spoiler alert, he got full Wise and Duelist stacks.
Yeah, which
He
is
was
rare.
With Execute, he didn't die in this game. Dami didn't die.
Wow.
He got full execution. He got full Wise and Duelist stacks with Executioner with Holy Arena. He was hitting for over 1,000 damage a hit.
Yeah, that's just. I mean, if you can do it, you should do that. Yeah.
Exactly. And this whole comp is just enabling Greymane. This whole comp.
Yeah.
Everything about this comp is about Dami.
Well, you're welcome, Tempest and Dami.
Yeah.
You learned from me
There you are.
how to play Greymane, and now you're winning big money. Congrats.
Yeah.
So let's take a look at some highlights here from
Do
this
it. Oh, this game. Guys, if you haven't watched this is game 5 of the grand finals between Tempest and MVP Black.
Yeah.
And you need to watch this game if you like competitive Heroes of the Storm. It is the best HOTS that's ever been played.
So there's the first. So this is the first triple altar spawn.
Yeah.
And they do. MVP just prioritizes the bottom. They let the top 2 go pretty much. They kind of come in here and try for a poke. But it looks like they were a little too late. I just wanted to highlight that they just didn't panic. Over here, this is post ults. And here you can see, I think this is the first big Sanct during this. So you see a big Ancestral come out there, which actually kind of resets the fight almost. And check this out, the Force Wall Invulnerable, that's just a zone of, that was Gandalf right there. You shall not pass, you shall not do damage, you shall not collect $200, pass go, any of that. And look at how much damage has been done to their team now. Tempest is just so healthy, and look at that dive in with like 10 hit points by Sign while he avatars. And Greymane, yeah, I mean, just that Sanctification Force Wall, it was just 3 seconds of God mode. Like, it was like they hit they got the Invincible Star in Mario. They're like, all right, yeah, exactly.
Yeah. It's you can't go anywhere and you can't kill us.
Yeah, exactly. You're not going anywhere, Freak Show. And again. Here's a fight here, actually. Let me rewind this because I wanted to talk about this because this was interesting to me. Here's a fight where Tyrael gets caught out. Let me rewind. No. All right, so Tyrael gets caught out of position here, kind of in near their camps, and they're throwing a ton of damage down on Tyrael. And this is where the Sanctification and all that is not going to work as well because they weren't ready for this fight. They were split across the map. They came in kind of late. And there's the Sanctification, but they're already super low. So it does save them and give them some nice disengage. Because, see, it's not going to matter once those stuns hit. They are going to get a couple kills here. So I just wanted to point out that it wasn't like the Sanctification just rolled over MVP Black. MVP Black doesn't get rolled over. And off that fight, they get the boss and I think all 3 of these altars off that Tyrael pickoff.
Yeah.
Maybe 2, but I think 3.
No, all 3. They were really ahead at this point in the game.
Yeah, they were. And nice zoning there. Yeah, I just wanted to point out that...
This wasn't a stomp. No, right. This wasn't a stomp.
Not only that, but if you're not ready and you're like, okay, 3, 2, 1, go. The Sanctification thing, with this kind of comp, it's really hard to make work.
Tempest needs to be the one engaging with this comp.
Right.
They need to pick their fights.
Right.
You hit the nail on the head.
Yeah.
If Thrall gets the Sunder that they're not prepared for...
Yeah.
Because the reason Sanct works so... If you're good, you can outright negate the Sunder.
Mm-hmm.
But even if you catch it after... When they leap on you to try and follow up on the Sunder, you're just like, nah.
There. Let's look at that again. Yeah, sorry.
Sorry.
Yeah.
I'm behind you, so I'm watching.
Yeah, I know. That's my bad. So here it is here. Thrall gets cornered, and he sees the Sunder animation. He sees him jumping, and instantly sinks and just nullifies the Sunder.
This. Can we slow-mo?
We can't. It's just Windows Media Player.
I'm kidding. It's just...
it's
and that's Rich. That's one of the best Thrall players in the world.
Yeah,
that's Rich.
That's the best
people.
Yeah.
That's the best. Yeah, and people would argue the best HOTS player in the world.
Right.
Just getting sheer outplayed.
Yeah.
Hilarious.
Yeah, and then that momentum carries from there, and basically they grab all 7 forts. And I just wanted to show this at the end of this game, and just this is almost a manner Sanctification. It's not really because the boss does a lot of damage, and they just want to make sure they get it. But nice gust out there. Just to protect it, and the auto shots come in. They have all 7 forts. This is pretty much the end of this game is as one-sided as a Towers of Doom game is pretty much going to get, right? Like 19-0 on the pro level. And then they won the big money. They beat the godlike team MVP Black, the guys with the best reputation in the biz. And congratulations to them, man. That was awesome.
Well, I mean, I was cheering for Tempest going into this because they made the gods bleed. They had won what 37 or 47 series in a row that MVP Black had won.
Right.
And Tempest was just like, "Now we're 4-0 you."
Yeah. So like, if you are MVP Black and you have that kind of record, I can understand you drafting this way and feeling very confident in your standard draft, right?
This is just a good draft.
Yeah,
just a good draft. This is something. If I got this ever, I'd be thrilled
I'd be
to
happy.
get this draft 100% of the time.
Although when I looked across at the other team and I was Thrall, I would feel worried personally. I'd be like, I got nothing. I can't do anything to this team, you know. But
yeah. That's I personally stylistically I like Tempest's better just because it's a little wonkier and a little more.
It's definitely
flashier.
very
set object. It's flashier. It definitely has a set objective. And I like when you talk about the idea of cheese drafts and the idea of standard and the idea of style, you're like your team has a style. There are heroes that you really like Akaface really likes to play Brightwing. Crow and Only make Gale Force Esports has heroes that they build their drafts around. So you talk about that, but the idea that we have to get these 5 heroes is wrong. That's not how you should. When you're trying to build a draft, if you're an amateur team or whatever in a competitive level, and you're trying to get, you can't draft that way.
Right.
What you have to, if you're gonna do a draft, a cheese quote unquote, or a pocket strat, you need to have, or all drafts need to have a goal. We want to do X or Y with this draft. We want to outpush them. We want to out-rotate them. We want to just kill them. We want to draft 4 stuns and just roam on them early and snowball off our early kills. That's not always as good to do because then you don't get the kills. You're usually screwed. Right. But a comp should have a goal. Tempest's draft has a goal.
It's a theme almost.
It's a theme. It's build Greymane to the point where he just wins fights. MVP Blacks.
I mean, nothing makes me happier than that.
Yes. Oh, yeah. For you particularly. But MVP Black's draft is like, cool. On any other map, I love it so much more because I'm still one of the people who doesn't love Sylva on this map.
Right.
Because she can literally, there's a literal line in the sand.
Right.
She's like, well, I'm useless now.
Yeah, I like her much more on Tomb of the Spider Queen, things like that.
Literally any other map.
Yeah, I don't like her on this. This and Garden of Terror are probably her worst maps. Yeah.
Yeah, because she gets less value with the objective. Yeah. Her best map is BOE, 100%. Because she shreds. She shreds, especially with quiver resets. Yeah. Oh my god, she just Recorinos that
Get
immortal.
Get yourself a Sylvanas Tyrande Greymane. Yeah.
And you literally never lose ever on that. Yeah. A dream.
Yeah. So it was a great series. I'm happy we got 5 games out of it. I'm happy the games were good.
Literally the best HOTS that's ever been played.
Yeah, it was. This is. We have now reached the apex of competitive HOTS, and I think it's only going to get better.
It is. I agree.
Super exciting. Yeah. So let me ask you this, just to touch up on our Hero League drafting a little bit for things we can take away from this episode. Give me like 1 to 3, just key points to take into your draft mentally. What sort of things should you do when drafting in Hero League, just in general?
Okay, I'm going to do something that's sort of it goes before this.
Okay.
This is the idea that if you're in a game of Hero League, I don't care what level you're playing at, you need to be prepared to play any role.
Yes.
Just I don't know how much this has been brought up in the show, but this is something you have to have at least 2 heroes of every role level 5.
Yes.
Because I was literally in a game at Diamond 2, I don't tank.
Yeah.
Literally said in those words, I don't tank.
It's like
nothing is more tilting at that point. He's last pick. Yeah. We've got 2 picks left. I don't tank. And he picks us that time to tell us.
Right. So like, yeah, it's not like you're a tank player or you're an assassin player. If you're in Hero League, it's very important that you can fill any role with some adeptness.
It's crucial. And honestly, you can say, I'm not the best tank. I prefer not to play tank.
Say it early.
Say it at the start. You know what? That's A-okay. I'm not the best tank player. Mm-hmm. I should say, I'll support. Mm-hmm. Cool. I will play tank if I have to. I have every tank. I will do it if I have to. Mm-hmm. But I prefer not to.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So before we even talk about drafting, make sure that you, as a Hero League player, I don't care if you're in Bronze 5 or Masters, make sure that you can play every role.
Yes.
Because
Please.
nothing screws a team over more in draft than your last pick needing to pick a tank and they pick Sonya.
Right.
Okay, yeah, we've gotten that out of the way. Okay.
Yes.
Well,
Thank
it's
you.
my biggest gripe with Hero League.
PSA. Mm-hmm.
PSA. I think my second biggest thing would be prioritize your warriors more than you're doing now.
Okay.
Every single time I see because this is the Hero League draft, and Baba Booey said this beautifully. He's like, "This is the Hero League draft: 3 ranged assassins, a tank, and a healer."
Yeah, that is the Hero League draft.
That is the Hero League draft,
And one of them's Nova, for sure.
and one, yeah, exactly, yeah. God, God.
Sorry, I tilt you.
I know you do. God, even the mention. Don't don't be afraid to prioritize your warriors a little farther ahead, and don't be afraid to double support or double tank.
Right.
Don't be afraid to do it.
Mm-hmm.
Double tank is good, unless it's like Johanna Muradin.
Right.
But literally any other tank combination than that is good. A Nubarak with any tank, beautiful.
Sure.
Sonya with any tank. Tyrael with any other tank. Muradin with almost any other tank. Awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Don't be afraid to do it.
Right.
My other biggest thing, don't pick Tass on BOE.
Okay.
Don't
Now,
pick
tell us why you don't pick Tass on BO.
Because he's a hero who could be doing more damage.
Okay, right. You
He's a
just
hero
want to
who could
burn
be
that
doing-
immortal, right?
Yeah, you want BOE is win the immortal, win the fight. Win the immortal, win the game.
My advice is take Tassadar and pick Archon on BOE. That's my.
There's Dark Archon.
No, I'm just kidding. Don't do that.
Eat into their back line and then just kill them all. That's alpha days. You used to be able to he did so
Yeah, but
much damage.
Archon was a god back then.
It was
That
hilarious.
amazing.
Yeah. No, if I had anything, it's don't feel that you need to be locked into anything.
Right.
Really. I mean, you need a warrior and you need a support. But if you run double tank, if you run double healer, it's okay to do. Mm-hmm. Don't flame your opponents instantly or your teammates instantly because of it. Mm-hmm. Sometimes it's the right pick. My other thing would be just watch more pro games.
Sure.
Because there's so many times, this hero's not good. It's
like, they're fun to watch. You should watch them. And you'll learn a lot. Yeah. This kind of harps on your first point, but I think the number one skill for either solo queue or duo queue in Hero League that you need to have, and it's the one I try to work on the most. I try. It's not APM. It's not decision making in the map even, which is of course hugely important. It's not drafting. Drafting's hugely important. It's adaptability and it's flexibility. If you can adapt to the situation, because Hero League is going to throw every crazy situation you can think of at you.
Every curveball.
And if you can adapt to every curveball, you'll do a lot better in Hero League. That's my big thing, I think, for Hero League drafting is adapt your draft and adapt your play and adapt your hero pool, because you'll rise up for sure. And don't be stuck like I'm a hammer player. If you call yourself a hammer player, please go learn more heroes. Because I
won a game with Hammer in Diamond 3.
Did you?
Yesterday. Yeah.
Nice. She
I
can win games. She's a good
Hammer,
hero.
Diablo,
she's fine.
Rexar.
Wow.
And we won.
Wow. Nice job.
I know. I messaged. Peter's like, finish. He was in the game, so I just played one. And I was like, dude, this is my draft, right?
Yeah, see.
And he had the most standard draft ever. He lost and I won. I was like, well, you know what? To be fair, I got Rhaegar, so that's always the dream.
Yeah, Halwell said in the chat that he had 2 or 3 games where he suggests Tass as a healer and they go static and Archon just for damage, and that's what you want to avoid. Yeah.
Well, it's not as good as the solo heal Tyrande going Starfall.
Oh yeah. Oh wait, you're giving me PTSD. Stop it.
Yeah. Sorry. Okay, but if I had a piece of advice for Hero League, and it's a single best, regardless of drafting, decision making, anything ever in the world. Mm-hmm. If you make a mistake, say my bad.
Oh yeah.
Single
work wonders.
Biggest thing that could just diffuse a situation. Dude, what the hell? I know. I'm sorry. I messed up.
Yeah.
Okay. But you acknowledge you did something wrong, and you move, and everyone's like, "Cool, it's not. Hopefully, it won't happen again."
I think everyone agrees with you on that, but I think where the hump is there, where the struggle is there, is identifying your mistakes.
Yes.
Because most people, and myself included, it's hard sometimes because you have a rationale in your head when you make a decision, right? You have a reason for doing what you did, and sometimes it's hard to see why that was wrong.
Yeah.
So maybe even if you think you're right, just say you're wrong anyways. Maybe that'll help. Yeah.
Well, if it's normally the big glaring things. If I threw the heel on the wrong person in the fight.
You
but
cost
in the
Baba
fight-
Booey Master League, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Or that actually was a different situation. I D-shielded Murden instead of him on Kerrigan.
Oh, yeah, I've done that.
Anyway,
I've done that.
Real the Dream. I screwed him over so hard. No, single biggest thing is to do what the hell. Sorry, like that was my bad. Okay. Like nothing diffuses a situation more than just being like, yeah, that was my bad or my mistake or I could have done that better. Sorry, guys, or any little stuff like that. I've actually seen games turn around. Like guys were just outright flaming, and then the one guy they were flaming was like, yeah, that was my.
All right. So this, we're gonna harp on it one more time. InVerum, tell us your number one key to Hero League success.
Admit your mistakes. Admit when you do something wrong.
Admit your mistakes.
Admit your mistakes, because that's the only way that you're gonna grow as a player, and B, it'll reduce the toxicity so much.
Okay.
It'll reduce, like, because so many games I've seen start, and you die off the bat and something bad happens, like, oh, my bad, and then it's so much better for the rest of the game.
I agree.
So much better for the rest of the game. And someone going, dude, what the hell, and him going, well, screw you.
Yeah, I'm the screw you guy. I really am. Yeah.
No, see, I'm the first person to admit when I make a mistake.
Yeah.
Because
it's hard.
It's
hard to work on.
Well, because if you don't, the people who will never get better are the people who never admit they do anything wrong.
Right.
And it's the Dota. I call it the Dota syndrome.
And I think a lot of us, like I said before, we're talking in circles here a little bit, but I think it's important to reiterate. I think a lot of people will admit when they're wrong, and I will. It's just hard for me to see when I'm wrong. You know, obviously when it's really obvious, like I've done it where I've been like, oh, I'm gonna go try and solo the last 10% of the core. Oh, I died. You know, like then I'm like, shit, sorry guys. You know.
Yeah.
But there's little things that are hard to identify.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyways.
Yeah. Combine that with make sure you can play every role.
Yes, play every role and admit your mistakes. I like that. Those are two very good tips. Well,
I think there's people tips. Those are just people tips for life. Admit when you do something wrong.
Yeah, dude, it's like the art of war, Sun Tzu. You can apply it to everything.
Exactly. Dude, seriously, that's how you conquer countries and kill people.
Art of war. Totally. Or the Nexus. Yeah.
The Nexus. Conquer the Nexus. Okay.
All right, man. Well, it has been an awesome show. I really appreciate you coming on here and talking these drafts and picking out drafts for us. I think we all learned a lot. And
hopefully.
Yeah. Tell us, just give us the shout outs, the plugs, everything. Do all that jazzy.
I actually just got some cool news a couple hours ago. So me and Baba Booey, I've started a show on Friday nights. Before me and Baba Booey got our start on Divergent Gaming. Mm-hmm. That was our first time ever casting. And I still cast it pretty frequently. I do admin stuff with them. Obviously, they're part of Heroes United. We started doing the Divergent Gaming pre-show, where we just talk. I wasn't able to do it last week because I was getting my degree. Mm-hmm. I was in Ottawa, so
bad call, but okay.
Pardon?
Bad call.
I know.
Priorities.
Honestly, it's for the parents. It's for the parents. I don't care. They can mail me the piece of paper. I don't give a damn. I waited for 2 hours in an auditorium. It's not exciting. No, so we're doing that. Tomorrow, we're having Dunk Train on to talk. Nice. So that'll be fun. Ask him a lot of questions. Hopefully he has been kind of vague about what's happening with C9, so we'll see what happens. I've given him the questions to approve, and he hasn't said anything. So hope he's going to be good to answer them.
Yeah.
And then me and Dunk are actually casting Divergent Gaming.
Oh, cool.
He's his first time ever casting. Yeah, that'll be kind of fun. So me and him we're going to have him on the pre-show, and then me and Dunk Train are going to be casting Divergent Gaming tomorrow over on their channel at Divergent_Gaming. So be sure to come check that out. It's his first time ever casting. I was one of the first people to ever cast with Dread, and I'll be the first person to cast with Dunk.
Say that again. Say where they can find that again. Type it.
Divergent_Gaming on Twitch. It's at DG_Open on Twitter. All the info is there. And if you guys aren't familiar with the Heroes United event calendar, you should be. I'm going to link it in chat. Hopefully I don't get nightbotted to death with this.
I don't know. Yep.
No, good. So check that out, guys. Every amateur tournament in North America in Heroes United, which is basically all of them, is in that event page. Is in that calendar.
It deleted it. Send me the link. I'll put it there.
Oh.
Yeah. I didn't know. I don't know. I don't know nothing.
Oh, maybe that's just actually Twitch.
It's probably Twitch, yeah.
There you are. So yeah, be sure to check that out, guys, if you're interested in getting involved in Amateur Heroes of the Storm. And then obviously you can find my stuff here on Twitch. You can click on my name right there in the chat. Just InVerum, and then InVerum_Hots on Twitter. where I talk. It's my esports Twitter. I talk nothing basically but esports,
Mm-hmm.
which is a lot of fun. I gave up doing it on my personal Twitter. I actually just stopped using my personal Twitter because I just
Same here.
no one cares. All I do is esports, so who needs a personal Twitter anymore, right?
Yep.
Only
Agreed.
esports.
Cool,
Where can they
man.
find? Obviously, this is your show, but for people who may not be as familiar with you, where do people find you,
Oh
man?
yeah, if you're the first time watching Nexus Drafthouse, I'm at Storm Legacy Team on Twitter. Storm Legacy is a sister fan site to SC Legacy, which is, I believe, the oldest standing StarCraft fan site in the world. We've been around since Brood War,
Wow.
making
Okay.
content. Yeah, we're old school. And StormLegacy.com is a site that I admin and I create the graphics for and I recruit writers for, and it has some pretty good info on there actually from a lot of really cool people. So check out Storm Legacy and follow Storm Legacy Team on Twitter to find out more. And I'll, see the announcements for this show. We have a lot of great guests. InVerum is not the only great guest we've had. We've had Michael Udall, Talking Trees, Huge, Baba Booey, lots of cool guys who know their stuff. So Nexus Draft House is every Thursday at this time, and be sure to check it out every week. And tell your duo Q buddy who maybe you're having domestic violence issues with to watch Nexus Draft House with you. You can grow closer together, and learn how to draft together. So
It's couples therapy.
yeah, couples therapy, exactly. It's a beautiful thing.
That's it, exactly.
And
Yous
yeah,
will always be denoob to me, just for the record.
oh
They'll
yeah,
never not be denoob to me.
right. And I'm sure I forgot somebody, and I'm sorry to whoever I forgot. I think there's another guest, and it's just not coming to me right now.
Yeah, it's all
But
good.
but I love you anyways. Yeah. So this has been Nexus Draft House episode 5 or 6.
6.
6. I totally forgot to update the Twitch title, but whatever. I'll change it on the highlights. No big deal.
The VOD. There you are.
Yeah. And yeah.
I didn't see their sound.
Yeah.
I didn't help you at all there.
Nah, that's cool. Whatever. Yeah. Great show.